Thing that I think is cool that I saw happening when we were doing this was like when we would put something in and we would see it and it didn't look right or it didn't work right, then you can ask AI to find the errors for you, which is nice. Because as someone who doesn't code, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you unless it was like a really obvious like HTML.
Welcome to the My Wife Quit Her Job podcast. We have Toni back after a long, I don't want to say vacation, a long break. And we're going to talk about
you.
A break from correct. And I've been insanely productive. Actually,
you have actually. Yeah.
We're going to talk about vibe coding today. And I think I've been talking about this for a long time now. Mm-hmm. I think the Shopify app store is in trouble.
So, yes, you have been talking about this. And I've been playing around with it a little bit. Our friend Liz has been, like, that is her new hobby, she says, is vibe coding on the weekends. I'm hearing a lot of buzz about it on TikTok. Are you? Are you in that TikTok algorithm?
I am, but like, this is the first time I actually sent a comment to some people who were, I was like, I would like to see some of your vibe coded apps just to see, because you can't create anything super complicated just yet, because you can create something, you can get to work to first order. But once it works, anytime you want to add anything or change anything, it often like ruins what you've done so far.
Yeah. But so we've used it, which is pretty simple, is we used it to create a quiz on a WordPress site. So pretty simple stuff.
Actually, no, let's think about that for a sec.
Okay.
Before, you would have to sign up for a service to do a quiz.
Yes. Pay for a plugin.
Pay for a plugin. I think like Octane made a lot of money doing this, right?
Yeah.
It was a quiz. And now you can, so this is what I mean, like these simple apps where you can get charged like $50 a month for, now you can just vibe code yourself. How long did it take you guys to make that app?
I want to say it was probably did it in a weekend.
Yeah.
Because there's basically the two, and I would assume this is, I've only worked like peripherally on developing like apps and things like that. So I'm not on the technical side. But I would say there was two main components of it, right? The information that we wanted, right, in the quiz. So coming up with all that stuff, which is what you would do on your own. You're not going to, I mean, we did use AI to help us like narrow down some quiz answers and stuff like that. And then the secondary part was building the actual quiz, right? And having the code and then where it lives and then connecting it to, obviously we wanted to connect it to ConvertKit. So that way, you know, it's all automated once people take the quiz. But I would say it was probably a full weekend of, you know, one, figuring out what we wanted to do, and then two, being able to tell AI what we wanted, how we wanted it to look, and then, you know, installing it. And, you know, the one thing that I think is cool that I saw happening when we were doing this was when it didn't, like when we would put something in and we would see it and it didn't look right or it didn't work right, then you can ask AI to find the errors for you. Yeah. Which is nice. Because as someone who doesn't code, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you unless it was like a really obvious like HTML sort of thing where I'm like, well, that's not how you code that. I wouldn't be able to tell you how to code a quiz, right? Without the use of AI.
What platform did you guys use? Just curious.
That one was in Claude.
Oh, Claude. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I was just thinking to myself just the other day, like, I feel like I am all powerful right now. Like anything that comes to my mind right now, I can just instantly code, even if it's like a complicated app. And if you just even know like a little bit, I think like if you know nothing and you start vibe coding, that's the equivalent maybe of like a first or second year computer science major, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
But if you know a little bit about coding, like you can pretty much become like a master coder almost overnight.
Yeah, I think having a little bit of knowledge is actually really powerful. Liz having a little bit more technical knowledge than I do because she built her extension.
Right.
Was able to troubleshoot some stuff pretty quickly. Where I think as if it had just been me working on it, I think I would have still gotten to the same finished product. It probably would have taken me a little bit longer because I don't always know the terminology or
sure.
Like, you know, it's like you see something and you're like, that looks cool, right? But behind whatever you're seeing is all this technology, right? and all this code that built it. And if you're not quite sure what's that's called or how, it's going to be recognized, I think that's where it becomes tougher for people who have zero knowledge.
I mean, that's what I like about AI, because I know nothing. I knew nothing about like the underlying technologies of what I was developing. And so I would ask like stupid questions like, what is that? What is that? What is that? And if I was asking my friends helping me on the app, they'd probably think I was like the biggest idiot in the world. And I think that's like one of the biggest benefits of AI. Like they're not going to judge you, or they might be judging behind the scenes. But
yes, we actually had this debate this weekend, actually with my kids, about being nice to AI. When you said AI won't judge you, I'm always very polite when I like ask questions, and I'm always please and thank you. I found out one of my kids is kind of a jerk. And I was like, oh, no, like you got to be nice. I feel like it remembers that you weren't a nice person to work with, and they're not going to give you what you want.
When I get frustrated, then I start like, if it makes the same mistake like 3 times, I'm like, look, okay, I'm paying you $20 a month here.
I deserve better. Yeah. I think it's been fascinating. Although I will say, like, my biggest use of AI still is I use it as a cheat sheet. Like, I needed to find something in Google Analytics yesterday, and I was like, I don't know how to find this because I don't know Google Analytics 4. And I made ChatGPT walk me through the entire process to get what I needed, and it worked. So that's my biggest, like anything that's like a little bit, I wouldn't say Google Analytics is technical, but like, how do I operate in this system?
Right.
I've been using, same with like a Shopify report, that it's like, hey, I need to find this really specific thing. I love that it will like take you step by step through stuff, which is similar to the coding. It'll walk you step by step how to build something.
Hey, just a quick heads up. Tickets for my annual e-commerce conference, the Seller Summit, are now on sale over at sellersummit.com. If you run an e-commerce business selling physical products, this event was built for you. Unlike typical events filled with broad advice and feel-good stories, the Seller Summit is all about real strategies you can actually use. Every speaker I invite is deep in the trenches, running their own store and dealing with the same challenges you face every single day. Now, we keep the event intentionally small, just 200 people, so it stays intimate, and you actually get time to connect, ask questions, and have meaningful conversations. I've sold out every single year for the past 9 years. And if your store is already doing over $250K or $1 million in revenue, we also run a private mastermind with other top sellers in the space. You can learn more and grab your ticket over at sellersummit.com. Now back to the show.
I'm back on the Claude bandwagon, actually.
Okay.
For writing. I don't know what happened when ChatGPT 5 came out. I hate it.
Interesting.
So 1, it takes like 10 times longer to get an answer.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2, the answers are just much more verbose or something. So I've been actually using ChatGPT 4.0.
Okay.
Again, I just don't like 5. And then Claude just writes so much better. Something about 5 made the writing worse, or different, I should say.
Interesting.
From what I was expecting. So kind of back on the Claude bandwagon. But let me just talk about some of the...
I haven't played with the writing side on 5 yet, so I'll let you know, because I do a lot of the script editing with ChatGPT. So I'll see if I hate it when I get back into it.
And everyone seems to praise Claude Code. To me, Claude Code and the ChatGPT coding. So the way I do my coding is I scaffold the whole thing.
Okay.
And then I have AI fill in all the functions. Scaffolding means like you break an app down into separate functions, like really small functions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have AI write the functions.
Gotcha.
So it prevents it from just like going off in the total weeds. It's not like code this app, right? Instead, I just kind of break it down. I need this function, this function, this function. And then I have it fill in these small blanks so that if it goes off the weeds, it's limited to that like small function that I had it write. Yeah. To me, doing it that way, Claude and ChatGPT are, I mean, they're pretty much identical. So I can't really tell the difference personally. Yeah. But let me tell you some cool stuff. So now that this has opened up everything, like my wife had this huge to-do list for me for the longest time, where I was like, could you tell me the priority of that and whatnot?
The priority talk.
But now I have time to do all this stuff. So recently I wrote this warehouse tracking app because we got all these boxes in the back, right? But they keep disappearing. Or someone takes down a box and they'll grab something from it, and then that box just, the
Oh,
inventory was
yes.
done on a piece of paper,
Yeah.
basically, of the boxes in the back. And I remember in the beginning, I was like, well, why don't we just pay like $20 a month or something like that for an inventory tracking system? Turns out none of them, I shouldn't say none, but very few apps actually track like a box. And the ones that do, where you have a scanner and everything, literally hundreds of dollars a month
Yeah.
for something like that. But this thing, I vibe coded in like literally 4 hours. So now when when a box comes in, you just take your phone, it's a QR code, and then you scan it. Whenever you take it down, you scan it. And then whenever you're done emptying that box, you scan it again and then toss it. And so all these boxes and everything are completely tracked. Here's the other thing that I've always been curious about, but since I'm not in the office day to day, I wanted to know what the productivity is like, right? People listening to this are probably like, don't you track your productivity of all your employees like regularly? Actually, one person said that. I was like, actually, no. Like, should I have been doing this the whole time?
Okay, but can you just clarify
Yeah.
what you mean by productivity? Because my mind is racing right now
Okay.
of what that would be.
We have an embroiderist who stitches orders. We also have packages that go out the door, like how many can go out the door. And then we also have print orders, like how quickly are those being fulfilled, right?
So that means actually being printed, packaged, shipped
Correct.
out. Yeah. Okay.
Correct. And I'm not in there day to day, so I really don't know what the output is. I just see like a stressed wife sometimes when I do a good promotion and, a whole bunch of orders come in, which has always been this tug of war, actually.
Yeah.
Because my wife has always wanted to just keep the business as is, because we make enough money, and just growing anything and hiring more people just always leads to more headaches. So she doesn't want to hire anyone. But since I've been, growing the business or I'm always hesitant to grow it too quickly, if that makes sense, because then I get an angry wife.
Right.
Because she doesn't want to hire. But I've always wanted to know what the limits were. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Like, how many orders can I generate where we can actually handle it comfortably, or whatnot?
And you're not.
In order to do that, you got to track it, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll look and I'm like, why are there so many outstanding orders? Like, what's going on? This isn't a hard problem to solve, right? Anyway, so I talked to a buddy of mine, and they're like, oh my God, we have this complicated scanning system where they take when an order is being packed, they scan the order, and then they have a photo booth where they photograph the contents of it so no inventory is lost. Right? So they literally photograph the contents of the order, who's actually fulfilling it, and then they scan the order, they take a photo, and then the person's logged into to the system.
Right.
So they know which person is fulfilling what. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, think about like restaurants do that. You've got to log in when you cash somebody out, and like, that's pretty normal tracking that you haven't been tracking.
Yeah, I mean, does that work for do you guys do that for your client?
I'm not sure actually, but as you're saying this, I'm like, oh, we should be doing this. Like, if we're not, like, I think they know who packs which order, but I know Paul and Tiffany track who packs orders. So I know it's definitely a common thing. I like the photo though.
Well, because the inventory. Okay, here's the other thing. Like, sometimes customers, I hesitate to use the word malicious, but they lie.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, you didn't ship us this.
Yeah.
And then Jen goes back and she checks the weight of the package. She's like, it's the exact weight of all the items.
Yeah.
And then sometimes she actually packed it herself.
Yeah.
On certain occasions, she knows it was all in there.
Yeah.
But what do? You just, give the customer.
Yeah. You don't really have a choice.
Give them the benefit of the doubt. But now, like, if you have this photo tracking system, whatever, hey, here's your photo right here. Right. Well, anyway, I only talked to a handful of people, and it was 2 out of half the people had a similar thing. Mainly because I think employees, when it comes to just picking and packing, tend to be just all across the map in terms of how responsible they are.
Yeah.
And I get it, right? It's not like the most glamorous job
No.
in the world. But anyway, so I started implementing tracking
Mm-hmm.
of all that stuff, and I don't know how annoying I am,
You're annoying.
but
I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be annoying.
there was one day, and I was just shocked by the variability in production,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Like some days, you know, insane productivity, certain days like really, really bad.
Could you
So
track
and
it to the day of the week? Was it
I
like
track
correspondent
every
with like
single day. I
Fridays
track
are
the
like not productive versus like Tuesdays, which are super productive?
I track every single day. And then now, because I can vibe code this, I can
Yeah.
put graphs. I
Yeah.
can do, I can annotate, what happened that day and whatnot, and then create a nice report out of it.
Okay.
But anyway, so I saw like a whole bunch of days where in a row that were low,
Mm-hmm.
and the person doesn't know that we're tracking all this. And so we
Right.
mentioned it, and then all of a sudden everything was good again, and it's been good since.
Okay.
And we did it in a nice way,
Yeah.
And then in terms of orders out the door, same thing.
Okay.
So I created this dashboard where like we do personalized items, and sometimes they take 5 days. We
Right.
allow up to 5 days for them to be filled. But then there's orders that can be filled next day. So what you end up having is a whole bunch of orders that need to go out on different days.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have rush shipping, where you can bump up the queue for a
Right.
personalized order and ship it
Right.
faster. So you got all these things, and then before we had no idea when, how do you track something going out on time?
Right.
So now I vibe coded this dashboard where everything goes, exactly what needs to go out and when,
Yeah.
and so we can track the productivity. I don't know. This is just all fun stuff that's probably boring to anyone listening to this.
I don't think it's
But
boring. Actually, I think this is something that's really important because we got into this issue in August where we had a promotion and it did better than expected, right? Like it wasn't like a unicorn, but it was, probably performed 20 to 30% better than all of our expectations, right? And the warehouse actually couldn't keep up with the shipping. And so when I went in and looked at something like a week after, there was stuff a week old that hadn't been shipped out.
Yep.
And we don't there's no personalization aspect or things like that. And I was like, hey, the week is not acceptable. Not in the days of Amazon Prime and Walmart 2-day and all that stuff. And so it led to a greater discussion of like, what's the capacity of the warehouse? Like, because we need to know that on the marketing side, that the warehouse is only capable of shipping 8,000 orders or 800 orders a day or 200 orders a day, whatever it is, right? So I think knowing that is actually hugely important for your entire team, right? Because if you know you're only capable of doing 200 orders a day, then you maybe can't have a sale at a certain time or promotion or send that email out because your warehouse isn't capable of. And what's the point of having a promotion if you have a bunch of unsatisfied people?
It's true. Although you could argue, you just apologize profusely.
Sure. But like delayed. having a grasp of like I think now that like, okay, Bumblebee's capable of 100 personalized orders a day or whatever it is, right? Probably high.
Yeah.
But then like, hey, we're not going to feature personalization in this promo, but we are in this one because of time and bandwidth and everything else.
You know where it gets really complicated, where people don't think about these things? And maybe this is just unique to my industry, but there'll be people who get their address wrong, and then you can't ship it out. And so you got to put them in this separate bucket, but still get tracked.
Yes.
Right? And then you have to track whether you called them or reached out to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another bucket of people who like spell something wrong in their personalization, but technically you're supposed to stitch what they wrote, but if they spelled bride wrong,
right?
but we got in trouble for that once because they spelled something wrong, but it turned out that was how they say it. It was slang or their own way of spelling it, just for fun. And so we no longer just make blatant corrections. We contact them.
Yeah.
And then sometimes these people have wrong phone numbers. They have wrong email addresses. And so these orders go into the ether unless they're completely tracked.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And that was one of the issues that we were having too when I saw all these backlogged orders. And the warehouse manager was like, well, the ones from this day are all incorrect addresses. So like we're waiting on them. But, you know, just in Shopify reports, it's just showing up as an unfulfilled order. So yeah, I think that's really important. And anyone in e-commerce would not be surprised, but it always was surprising to me how many people got their address wrong.
Yeah.
In an order, because like, I don't know, you're probably more secure than me, but like my address just automatically populates like into everything. Like it's saved on my computer.
Oh, I don't do that.
Yeah, I know. I do. So it's like,
okay.
if it's wrong, you know.
Well, I mean, Google populates the address for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? You start typing and then Google.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I don't get it.
So nobody knows you're tracking them is the other part of this.
Yeah, that's the fun part. And Jen's like, you know, you're being really annoying to me right now. Because I'm like, hey, can you talk to this person? I really need to be in there more day to day.
You do.
To
do stuff like this, you need to be in there more.
Yeah, it's actually really fun.
Yeah.
And whenever Jen goes on vacation, I actually go in and I'm like, okay, let's make this place more efficient. Like, what do you hate doing? What's annoying?
Yeah.
And then when she comes back, I've usually written something. But now, like, that's like 10x what it used to be.
Yeah.
Because now I can pump out this code. Like,
well, now it's not like a 3-week project for you. It's like, oh, I can do this on Saturday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
And I will say, like, that's something that I think is so exciting about AI is the efficiency, like the improved efficiency on things. We were talking before we recorded that I have someone who's doing all their illustrations with AI now, right? Whereas before they were having to wait on illustrators, and one, the money savings, but two, the time savings, right? Is that, you know, an illustrator could take 2 to 3 months to churn out that many illustrations where you're getting them in a weekend. You know, using AI. Although I did see a flub up yesterday. There was a man with a tail. So it's still
okay. So
you still have to check.
So we're talking about images. So Google just released what they call Nano Banana. It's actually, this has already been out for a long time. It's called like they had the worst names. The technical name is Flash Image Generation Experimental 2.5.
Oh, good grief.
Like when you select it.
Yeah.
They had 2.0. 2.0 was already pretty good.
Yeah.
But 2.5 allows you to take any image and alter it however you want.
Ooh.
So I'll have a picture of a woman holding a handkerchief.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell it, hey, can you make this person cry into the handkerchief? And it instantly does that. Now, like just the other day, I was just being lazy and I sent out a sales email, and it was last year's sales email. And the graphic said 2024, right? I just uploaded the image to Google and I said, can you just change all this stuff and make it 2025?
Yeah.
And it did it. And then I just cut and pasted it back in. Whereas before I'd have to bust out Photoshop, make a couple edits and whatnot.
Are you happy with the images?
So it's not as good at just generating images from scratch. It's good at editing
but
images.
For the editing, yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. I think it's going to put Photoshop out of business.
Yeah. I mean, it's because what I've been using it for with images is giving me ideas. And then I send the idea to the graphic designer and she takes it and makes it, I think, significantly better. But I feel like there's a day coming when that's not going to be the case.
Yeah. I'm just talking about like the editing here.
Yeah.
Like you can take, let's say you did a photo shoot with a model, right? Let's say you sell clothing.
Yeah.
You can literally just take this outfit and say, hey, can you put this outfit on the model? And it does a pretty good job of it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't tried it yet, I think you're going to be pretty shocked.
Yeah.
You can put yourself up there and say, hey, let's say you're going shopping for clothing. So we always do a family photo shoot every year. You can literally just take photos off of the stores and put them on yourself to see how they look.
Yeah.
Without even, actually, Google's had this technology for a long time, but now it's easy for just anyone to do it.
Yeah.
It's freaking amazing.
Yeah. That's,
yeah.
I like the, I like the idea of removing the 2024 and putting it in 2025.
Well, that's just me being lazy.
Yeah, but
right?
no, but I have a lot of like lazy projects like that have just been sitting there, right? Because I didn't want to do all the work. So yeah.
Yeah. Or just take this front splash image and can you just replace the product with this one?
Yeah.
And it'll just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just amazed by like how powerful everything is right now. And this is why, back to the old Shopify App Store and trouble thing. I remember when I implemented the loyalty program back in the day. I think the provider that I was looking at wanted $500 a month
Very
for my
expensive.
sales level.
Yep.
Right. We had talked about this, but it took me a week to do that. But now with the way the tools are now, I could probably put that thing out in a weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe even less, and not have to pay any fees whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, that's the good and the bad, right? Because these apps, like it's a great business model in the past, right? Where people are paying monthly, they get like it's hard to change, right? Like if you sign up for that loyalty program, so we had the one that you were referring to, we switched to a less expensive one because the cost was insane. It was like getting several $100s a month.
Yeah.
But changing over, even though the company that we changed to was like, we'll do all the work. They don't do all the work. Like, it's not bad, but it's like you still end up and then not everybody's points moved over correctly. So then you're like doing manual uploads. And so what happens with all these subscriptions is they get you in, right?
Yeah.
And then you're never going to stop using them unless the pain is too great, right? Like the price becomes ridiculous. Like, so you're going to stay and pay the $99 a month, $149 a month, even $27 a month, right? You're just going to pay that forever and ever because it's too painful to switch. But now that some of this stuff can be done fairly easily, I mean, I agree with you. I think it's going to put, especially some of the real simplistic apps, that, are $9.99, $29. I mean, I think the less they do, the quicker they're going to be out of business.
I mean, the most recent one was that AI search thing that I made. Actually, I made it first, and then I realized that there were apps out there. But something like that, where they wanted $50 a month to do an AI on-site search, is just ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
Because you do it once, and that one was super fast.
Yeah.
To code up. And then all of a sudden you don't have to pay. On the flip side, I was also thinking to myself, hey, why don't I just create these apps myself and then sell them? It's hard. Actually, I can't really relate though. Can you tell me, like, would you still just pay for an app if you had a means to just code up something in a weekend?
So I think how the apps will still work is that there are so many people out there, and we know these people, right?
Yeah.
That are running like a 1 or 2 man show. Right. They've got a business. They're doing $500,000 a year, $750,000 a year. And they have one contractor. So like the thought of like, oh, spend the weekend coding up something, or spend the weekend redoing my ads, or spend the weekend shipping out packages. You know what I mean? Like, I still think there's a bucket of people who just don't have that weekend to code it up. Right. So that's where the rub still is, I think. There's a lot of people out there that are already spending 60, 70 hours a week on their business, and they don't have any margin to do something like that.
I would think the opposite, actually. Like if you're small, you have more incentive to do it. But if you're like this big, gigantic company, you just throw an engineer at it and you're done, right?
But I think, you have a different mindset too, but like you've got to remember back like when you were working full time, shipping Bumblebee out at night, embroidering, like, and maybe you had a baby, right? Like, are you going to spend the weekend coding something up, or are you going to be like, well, this is the only time I get to see my kid? I feel like, and for you, like already having some base knowledge, it seems less intimidating because we have people in the courses, right, who don't have any knowledge. And it seems when we talk about it with them, they still seem very intimidated. There's other people in the class without that knowledge that aren't. They're like, no, I want to try this and I'm okay messing up. So I just think it depends on like where you are.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's still not at the level where anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Just yet. But I mean, with every new release, it gets easier for me.
Yeah.
Which means it's got to be getting easier for everyone else too.
Oh, totally agree.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing that people, if you are in this position where you don't have any experience with this and you're wanting, I mean, just have like ask it to teach you. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot of the stuff that we were doing when we were trying to build this quiz is like, well, tell us what are the components? Like, what are we forgetting? I was just like, educate me on how to do something like this. Right. And I think it does a fairly good job. Especially if you're polite. But I do this. But I do the same thing with like every time I'm like going on there, I try to at least get some like, hey, show me how to do this. Tell me how to do this. Show me this that I don't know yet, right? So I feel like every time I'm on there, I'm trying to at least learn one or two things that will help me, overall. But I feel like not everybody has that extra time.
Well, let's switch gears and just kind of talk about tools. So I have a vested interest in this right now because my son wants to make this app for this game that he just loves. And he wants to just have a contest with like all of his friends online. It's like a card game.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, well, if you want that, why don't you code it up yourself? Right? He's not really a coder. I mean, we did send him to a computer science camp once, so he kind of knows the basics.
He went to 1 week of computer science camp. He's fine.
So I've been looking into all these tools, and that's why I kind of asked you that question in the beginning. I think jumping into Claude Code is a little intimidating for people. So like, if you want to create like a simple quiz or a web app, I think Lovable is a pretty good start. If you want to create a game that has like a database where you're storing like the scores of your friends and whatnot, I think I'm going to pull the trigger on for my son and then just kind of hopefully guide him to write it himself is this tool called Replit.
Okay.
It's basically, I think it uses, Claude Code behind the scenes, but it has like the database and all the stuff that you need to just literally deploy like a fully functional app.
Yeah.
And if you're just doing like stupid stuff, like kind of what I do, like where you're willing to scaffold out everything and then I think any AI tool will work, honestly.
Yeah.
To do stupid stuff. Like the amount of stupid questions I ask ChatGPT on a daily basis it's just incredible. This is why I don't like Claude. I always run out of credits on Claude.
Yes, we've talked about that a lot. I never run out with Chat.
I've never ever run out with Chat.
No.
Actually, there was one time I did when I was using the video generation, but that's a different. I think that's a different tool altogether.
Yeah, I've never run out. My Chat is funny because I always have to remember to start a new project when I want, because sometimes I'll just ask it like really dumb questions, like if a banana is XYZ, is it safe to eat? Like I'll like ask those types of questions too. So I'm like, oh, new Chat, I can't put that in my Google Analytics tutorial bucket. But yeah, I ask it a lot of dumb questions as well.
Well, here's a quick tip also for ChatGPT at least. Under personalization, you should say always give a contrarian answer, be contrarian, and always give the pros and cons. Because otherwise, it's just going to tell you what you want to hear. And then you'll end up just feeling good about your decision, even though it's a bad one, like what they suggest. Has that ever happened to you? I
always say give me the pros and cons. So it's probably the same.
Okay. But this is like an implicit for every query that you give.
Okay.
And then I also have it rank all the answers it gives me on a scale of 1 to 10.
That's a good one.
And then that way I can just kind of determine which one's the best.
So one of the tips that I use for whenever I'm looking for it to create pieces of content. So I'm like feeding it some content and then I'm like, hey, turn this into something else, right? I always have it do 3. I say, give me an emotional response, give me a logical response, and give me a humorous response.
Interesting. Explain to me how that works.
Basically, so like I'll feed in like I can use type A because that's what I use it for primarily, right? So I want to create a piece of content about the hustler, right? The personality type, the hustler, right? So, and I want to talk about why busyness has become such like an idol, right? Like that's kind of the topic. So I feed it in some information about that, like some like paragraph of content, and I want it to give me more information, right? Like I want it to turn that into something bigger. I'm always like, give me 3 different options. I want the logical. So I want to appeal to someone in a logical way, right? And then I want to appeal to a different person in an emotional way. And then I want a humorous one too. And so sometimes on their own, they're really good, right? Like and it does a really good job of like really keying in on emotions or whatever it is you ask. But then sometimes I take all three and I'm like, okay, let's put this into one, right? Like let's touch on all three types. Let's try to hit them everywhere. But sometimes I just want, like, especially when we're doing scripts and TikToks, like I just want the logical script. I just want the emotional script because it's going to be two separate things. So
interesting. I would think that the emotional one should be like the only one that you do, right?
Well, emotional stuff doesn't work with you.
That's not true.
Yeah, I know. You cried during the Michael Jordan 30 for 30.
You're convincing me to do something.
Every time I see a Michael Jordan clip, I think of you now. No, but like, I think because we're talking about marketing, right? We're talking about marketing to a specific group of people. But like for me, usually the logical is much more appealing than the emotional. If I see an emotional appeal, I'm like, oh, you're manipulating me. But like I've read scripts on the emotional stuff to other people who I know are much more impacted by emotional arguments, and it works, right? Like I watch them get teary, or I watch them like swallow, right? Because they're like, oh, I'm really this is resonating with me. Whereas like I can listen to that same thing and maybe be like, okay, yeah, that's good. Like I think it's a good piece of content, but it doesn't resonate with me. But the logical side of it is like, oh yeah, 100%. But I think when you do it that way, especially for copy, like you get a really good blend that you can use overall. Like even if you combine them into like one, so that you can, I don't know. I think you got to hit people in a lot of places.
I'll have to use that one for my scripts. Do you use,
It's mostly for scripts. Yeah.
Okay.
Or web page copy, any sort of copy, that you need.
Right.
I've tried a little bit with the curriculum stuff, and I think it doesn't know. It knows the type A stuff back and forth now because it has so much type A content in it. It doesn't have like store content in there enough to like do as good of a job. And I also think the more content it has, the better it does, right? Like the more you can feed it, the better it gets, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that. There was just this stat that I came across because I was going to use it in my YouTube video. It was something like 23% of people shop based on logic, and the rest is all emotion.
Yeah, but that's still 23%.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you're not always logical, Miss Toomey Bag. Like, would you pay like 10x for a bag
I'm in a fight with them right now. So
are you really? What happened?
Yes, I am. My backpack, the dog chewed the leather strap at the top, the little top handle. Yeah. And I sent it off to them and they're like, we can't repair this. I'm like, it's a handle. Like what could you possibly repair on this bag if you can't repair this?
Right.
And so they offered me $200 and they would throw my bag away. And I was like, you can't even buy a backpack for under $400. Like, send my bag back. I'll take a broken bag. Like, it's still usable. Just doesn't have the top handle.
So they just don't sell the handle by itself.
They won't repair it. But I'm like, I could take it to like a leather shop here and they would repair it 100%. So that's what I'm
did you want a free repair though?
No, I paid to have it shipped out. Like I was going to, but they were like, we can't repair this. And I was like, well, you suck. Like,
I see.
Like Osprey has a lifetime guarantee on their bags. That's the other bag that's all my travel stuff. But
I see. Okay, so you weren't asking for anything unreasonable.
No, I just wanted it. I was going to pay for it to be fixed.
Right.
And they're like, no, we don't fix straps. I'm like, what do you fix then? Like, what possibly could you fix on this backpack? So yeah, that's like time to be loyal to another brand. I don't know. But here's the other thing. So that's a good example. So when I was on the Toomey site, because I knew I was going to get $200, like when I was like, well, is it worth it just to take the $200? And then I was like looking at the price of their backpacks and I was like, well, no, because I still have to pay another like $250 to get like basically to replace my backpack. But then I started looking at like, I always click on the sale button, right? Because I want to see like what's on sale. And they had a bag that I really like in a color that I didn't like, but it was like really clearanced. And so like I spent like 20 minutes like thinking about like, well, like that's a really great deal. And I'm sure I could give it to somebody who likes this. Like I had a whole like logical, there was no emotion at all. It was all price based, right? Like it was like the value for the price. But then I'm like, but then I'm mad at them. So I don't want to buy anything. And anyway. So yeah, I could be logical, but the emotion gets me, of course. I can't watch what is it, like the Apple commercials at Christmas time. They're very emotional.
Actually, I just want to end with this, and this just kind of popped into my head. You know how all those tools now interface with like Gmail, and
yes,
so you can look up. You have to be careful with that now, actually, because there's been some security issues recently where they can inject. I can't remember how it works exactly, but let's say someone emails you an image that has like a hidden prompt embedded into it, and Google reads that back. There's a loophole where one of the LLMs was actually running that prompt and giving out sensitive information in the email somehow. I need to find the article. It was from a reputable source.
Okay.
So like I'm a little hesitant now to connect all of my stuff up in that regards. So
well, that's
we shouldn't end on that. We shouldn't end on. I know we shouldn't end on that. It was just like a word of caution, though. Like when you're connecting up anything sensitive. But
well, I think that's a big lesson though, is when the more people start doing this and the more people start connecting things, like you do have to be careful with your information and what you're choosing to allow.
But on the flip side, I do want to end with this.
Okay.
Is even if you do not know how to code, go up and then just sign up for Lovable. They have a free account, and then just ask it to create something for you that you might need. It could be a quiz. It could be a little app that tracks what you eat, something simple like that. And just prove to yourself how easy it is, right? And if you want to do anything more complicated, I think the right way to go about something complicated is to just spec out in a document what exactly you want done and pretend like you're a user and this is the functionality that you need. And then ask AI like, okay, what are the different components of all this that need to be implemented? And then just try to break it down to as small of pieces as you can. And then use AI to code each small part one by one. I don't know if that's clear to someone who doesn't code, but I think the problem with most people who use AI to code an app is like, they're just like, give me an app that does this. Right? When there's a lot more like if you told that to a master coder, let's say
they
a
wouldn't
human,
be able to do it either.
They wouldn't be able to do it, right? Because they need all these details.
Yeah.
So that's why you need to provide all those details. I'm willing to bet that most people who can't get what they want out of AI, it's because they're not good at explaining what they need, right? And so this is kind of like an exercise in understanding what you want and being able to communicate to a real person, like pretend AI is a real person, and communicating to a real person what you need. And I'm sure you'll get a lot more results, better results that way.